Hi, this is Ike from axel-to-axel.com. Today we're going to discuss what you should be looking for when you purchase a new bow. There's a lot of different variations on bows, a lot of different models out there, a lot of different cam setups, axle to axle. It can all get real confusing real quick. So this video is especially for the new archers who are going to go out to shops and see 100 different bows a day. This will give you just a general idea of what all that information means and what these guys are telling you. So the first thing that you need to look for when you're looking for a bow is what you're going to use it for. If you're going to be hunting with a bow, you're not going to be shooting that often except for target practice. So you need to take into a lot of factors of weather, what you're going to be wearing, different things like that when you select a bow. Tree stand, ground blind, how you're going to be hunting. So there's a lot of different factors when it comes to hunting that you need to take into account. One thing you're going to want to look at is your poundage. You want a bow that you can pull back when you're wearing a big thick jacket, when it's 20-30 degrees outside, when it's raining, cold, nasty. So you're going to want to determine that. Another thing is, like I said, the tree stands and the ground blinds. If you're going to be hunting out of a ground blind, you're going to want a short bow, so that when you raise that thing up, you're not hitting the ceiling and things like that. Tree stand, you may want a shorter bow there too, just so ease of movement there. If you're going to be 3D shooting, you got to take into fact that you're going to be shooting. One, if you're going to be really getting serious about 3D, you're going to shoot every day, and you're going to shoot a couple hundred arrows a day. When you go to the shoots, you're going to walk a mile, and you're going to be shooting at least 40 to 50 targets most of the time. Field shooters, you're going to shoot 100 to 150 arrows a day. I'm not real up on the field shooting, so I'm not really sure on that exact count, but you want to determine, you realize that you're going to be shooting quite a bit if you're going to be doing 3D or field. So definitely take that into account when you go to pick your bow. Decide what you want to do with it, and then make your selections, from there. So what I mainly do is deer hunt. I do some 3D, so I base my choices mainly on deer hunting. The first thing you're going to want to look at when it comes to a new archer is your brace height. The brace height is the distance from the inside of the riser to the string. A bow with a brace height of 7 inches or higher is going to be very forgiving. It's going to allow your form to be a little bit sloppy and things like that. And eventually, when you work your way into better form, you'll be able to move to a different bow. Bows with low brace heights, 7 inches and below, bows like the PSE Omen, the Bowtech 82nd Airborne, they're real fast bows. The lower brace height makes them real quick. But at the same time, any slight flaw in your form, it's going to make it harder for that bow to perform like it's supposed to. Well, the bow is going to perform like it's supposed to, but it's going to be harder to get accuracy out of it that way. So the first thing that I always look at when I go to buy a bow is the brace height. I like to have my brace height at 7 inches or higher. So for beginning archers, that's what I recommend. The second thing that you're going to want to look at is the axle to axle, which is basically the overall length of the bow. And like I said, for guys hunting out of ground blind, you're going to want as short as you can get. There's several bows on the market that are 28 inches, and then it goes up from there. If you're shooting fingers, you're definitely going to want a longer bow. I myself, if I was going to shoot fingers, would get a bow that's at least 40 inches. Some of the fingers guys you may be able to shoot a little bit smaller bow than that, but I like to go with a mid-range bow. Both of my bows, the Iron Mace and the Guardian, are 34 to 35 inches on the axle to axle, so I kind of like to stay in the middle there. There was a time, 5 years ago, when if you got a bow that was 32 inches or smaller, that they were real radical, real fast, and they were real hard to handle. Nowadays, that doesn't seem to be the case. Like the PSEs that are 28 inches, some of the Elites that are ultra small, they got high brace heights. They're good, quick bows, and you can still handle them. So, axle to axle is really dependent on what you want to do with the bow and how you like the feel of it. The next thing you're going to want to look at when you go to pick your bow is the poundage. Bows are generally designed in a 10-pound weight range, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, and so on. That's the weight that they perform the best at. You can back them down a little lower than 50 or a little higher than 60, but that's the peak weight that they perform the best at. So you want to determine what kind of poundage that you can pull and pull comfortably. And like we said when we started, you're going to want to determine what you're doing with the bow. If you're shooting 3D, you may be able to handle a little bit more poundage. If you're bow hunting, you may want to consider that you're going to be wearing thick jackets and hunting in some cold weather. So field shooters, You're going to be shooting 100 plus targets, so make that choice based on what you're doing. For me, I shoot 60 pounds generally, and with these bows, they got 65 to 85% let off, and when you get a bow that's got 85% let off, you're going to be able to handle a little bit more weight. So normally on the older bows, I would shoot around 50 to 55. With either one of these bows, I can shoot 60 pounds pretty comfortably. So determine your poundage by what you're doing, and try to stay in that peak weight range there. Like I said, I like to go 60, so my high country is a 50 to 60 pound bow, and my Bowtech is a 60 to 70 pound bow. Both perform very well at 60 pounds. The next thing you're going to want to determine is your correct draw length. That's one of the most common problems that you see people have, is their draw length is way too long. When you pull your bow, you want to rest that thing nice and comfortable with your bow arm good and straight, and you want to be able to rest nice and comfortable underneath your jaw. There's a little bit of variation there, but the main thing is you don't want to be back here, you don't want to be leaning, and you don't want to be back here by your ear. That's just going to cause you problems. And one of the biggest factors, one of the biggest ways to determine if your draw length is wrong is you're going to be hitting your forearm. If you got the correct draw length and you got good form on that arm, you should be able to get away without even wearing an arm guard. So when you go to the shop, most of these have adjustable mods on them that you just take a couple bolts loose, slide it around to where you need. Or like the Bowtech, it has a replaceable mod, a couple bolts, pull it out and put a new one on there. So when you go to the shop, try out some different lengths. And if you shot a bow before and it was a 28 incher, when you go to the shop and you say you go down there and you want to shoot a new high country, still try a 28 inch. Don't just say throw a 28 inch on there and that'll work, because some of these will run a slight difference in them. Half inch to an inch long is not uncommon. I shoot a 28 inch draw length, but my 82nd Airborne was way too long for me at 28. It actually had a half inch to it, and it had me leaning back. So definitely get those guys at the pro shop to change your mods, or get that thing set up to where you can shoot it before you buy it. Next thing you're going to want to look at is your cam setup. A lot of the bows on the market now are dual cams, 2 cam systems, whatever you want to call them. But most of them are going to be a hybrid cam, a cam and a half, a binary cam, whatever they want to call them. What these cams basically are is a 2 cam system that's designed to stay in time. The old cams back 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they came out with these dual cams that were to get your speed up there, but timing them was an issue. They were constantly going out of time. So nowadays with the binary cams and the cam and a half systems and some of these others, they're a lot better about staying in time. So definitely look at the different cam systems out there. One of the other cam systems is a solo cam, and the solo cam, it is going to be a little bit slower than the binary cams, the 2 cam systems, but it's going to be a lot smoother. It's going to be a lot more forgiving because you're not shooting quite as fast as you would with the others. These are good bows because they don't go out of time. They're easier to maintain, and they're a lot more forgiving as far as your form goes. One of the other factors that you're going to want to consider, like we said with the solo cam, is going to be speed. If you're going to be shooting 3D and you're going to be shooting long distance, a little bit more speed is going to help you out. It's going to have a flatter arrow trajectory, and it's going to get you a little bit tighter pin gappage. Like my high country, I can shoot from 0 to 25 yards, and I can shoot it pretty effectively with 1 pin. So that's one thing you're going to want to determine, and you can get a really fast bow with a good high brace height. So that's one thing to take into consideration when you're looking at these bows. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you decide that you want to buy a new bow is go down to the shop and shoot everything they got. I mean, if it's not a brand that you like, it's not a brand you heard of, go down there and shoot it. Shoot the 2 cam systems, shoot the solo cams, shoot them with a low brace height, shoot the fast bows, shoot the slow bows, shoot them all. That's the one thing that I definitely recommend. Ask the Bowtechs questions. Ask them what the brace height is. Ask them what the axle-to-axel is. Get on the internet and do some searches and find some information out there on these bows before you go down there, and it'll help you make an educated, informed decision.